Good morning, everybody. This is Walk the Dog Season 2, Episode 23, I believe we're at. And we're recording this on Tuesday, which means the B patch has been out. And according to some EU challengers, it's too balanced now. So, Kent, if you could go break it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, otherwise, things seem to be going okay. The live team's actually working on 16.4 now, which thankfully looks pretty small and things like that. I'm still in Futureland doing other things. There's also office work now. The last few days I'm here. I'm excited to go home on Friday, but that's enough for me. I am joined by, this was requested by you guys because a bunch of people were like, man, you know who we haven't seen in forever? Aww. Feels like we haven't seen Kent in forever. So I am joined by Kent. Hi, Kent.
Hey, everyone. Just quick intro. I'm Kent. I'm currently the set finalization lead. So I work on the team that does the latter part of set development in Futureland, I guess. And right now I'm spending a lot of my time on augments. Recently did a bunch of set 16 augments and currently working on the next batch of augments to come out in the future. I'm really happy to be here, but I'm sad that I don't get to be laying on the wooden floor with the chairs taped to the back the same way. You know, we're in a different environment. This is very normal. I more had to change it up now that I'm here. He can't let me know that the secrets. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just want to make some joke about how we had a brilliant idea and it's just here, you know. It had nothing to do with the fact that all the rooms were taken when we tried to record this or anything. No. Awesome. Well, good to see you, Kent. I think you used to be on like the patch rundowns and things like that for a while, and then you haven't been as much lately. Like, is this because I demoted you and kicked you off and you did terrible at your job, or was this some other reason that caused you to like not really be part of those?
Yeah, so my review for last year just said, I hate you. And so I've changed up a lot of, I used to, work on all the live patches with Mort very closely on a weekly basis, that kind of thing. But now I'm a lot more focused on Futureland. I'm a lot focused on the sets that are coming out in the future. And so me and my team, we think about, once the set goes live, we hand that off to the live team, to Tim and those folks who work on the patches, and then we move on to the next set, basically. And so it's more just like a shift in roles. We've, as a team, we've kind of wanted to focus on getting the set out as good as possible. Instead of spending a lot of time doing lots of big patches over and over, we can ship the set in as good as possible, then slowly do these changes over time to fix the problems as players optimize. And we still have to do all these patches because you guys are so good at optimizing. Like, we release a patch, and then like over the weekend, you guys have already figured out what's broken, and then we have to think about it. And it's, with a million of players playing the game constantly, you guys can optimize way better than we can. And so, yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. Well, so we'll do questions, and we can go back and forth and ask each other questions. I brought a few from players as well, and you're generally pretty equipped to answer some of the tougher gameplay problems. So I brought a couple of those as well. But the first one, I always start with the softball here, since I've been doing these. Is you've been on TFT 5 years now? Yep. Holy cow, this guy's getting old. And in those 5 years, what's probably the thing you look back at and you're just like, you're the proudest of? You're like, dang, that was awesome.
There was this augment called Rushdown. No, I'm just kidding. This is like an old joke. It's like I created this augment called Rushdown. It's 150% attack speed at the start of combat that decays, and it was so bad for the game. I was a noob designer at the time, but okay. It was really bad for combat pacing. I think my proudest thing, I think it has to be set 9. I was the set lead for set 9, and it was my first time leading a set. Kind of came in and just a lot of things were changing internally with the team, and kind of I just took over and had to put my entire heart into it. I worked really hard during that time, tried to make the set as good as possible. And I'd never done something that big before, and it taught me a lot. I was really grateful to be able to do something like that. And also I was just really proud of how everything turned out afterwards. And so I would say that's my...
I feel like you undersold that a bit too, because if I remember right, it was Witty was the set lead of set 9 at the time. Yeah. And then because of some issues, we had to move Witty to set 10 because it was that's our big music set. We need to do that. And so you had to kind of jump in. So it wasn't even necessarily that you got to you had to almost take over and make sure it ran. That's a lot of hard work sometimes to keep the vision going versus just coming up with something from scratch. And so, and you had never led a set before, which was huge. And so the fact that you were able to do that, come in and then successfully complete that, I think was a big deal. So I think that's a great choice. That's a good answer.
That was a that was like I felt like that was a big moment for me where I realized that like I'm like I was pretty young in my career overall, and I felt like, wow, I can actually do this. Like I built a lot of confidence throughout that time. It was like the team was me and one newish designer, Sam, and then two like brand new designers, and so it was a pretty fresh team. And so kind of being able to like guide them a lot because I just understood TFT so much and go from there. And then eventually Giovanni joined the pod and he helped a ton in like helping me figure out like how I'm supposed to be a set lead and things like that. But yeah, that was a big pivotal moment in my career, I believe. And the set turned out so good. And so I was just really happy about it.
Nice. That was a good answer. All right. Before you ask me one, I'm going to give you a hard player question. We have player questions. We'll start off with, I think, the easier one here, which is, how do you feel about the item Crown Guard? Now, the person talking about it was like, Crown Guard never feels like BIS on anybody, and items should be BIS on somebody. How do you feel about Crown Guard? Now, again, I asked this not like you're in charge of items or anything, but just you have pretty informed opinions about the game, and someone other than me can answer every single question. So how do you feel about Crown Guard?
Yeah, I think Crown Guard I agree it's like an awkward item. It's originally supposed to be kind of like an AP bruiser item, a fighter item, and it kind of can serve that function, but not really, right? That's never something that you like optimally want. But it functions mostly like a tank item, and it serves its purpose as a tank item. It's okay. It's never BIS on anybody, like as mentioned. So I'm not like that happy about the item. I wish there were other things we could do with the item. The one upside of the item is it does kill, like in AD comps, if you don't need the rod, it kills a rod for a tank item for your tank. So that's like the one benefit. But we can do the same thing and have a, better output. It's just more like long-term when we do big system changes, like changing a core item of the game, we need to be ready for that thing to like, we need to do a good job, basically. We can't just like willy-nilly change an item like that.
Yeah, I think the thing I would add too is that if you look at like a character like Silas, right? Somebody I think who was the primary intended user in a post-Rolls revamped world, right? Before the armor would help him generate more mana by taking damage. So like Crown Guard was pretty solid compared to like Death Crap. Now without that, the extra armor is kind of like trivial and not really a big deal. And so, yeah, I kind of agree that it's an item that's due for an update where if we want it to be good on a champion like Silas, we should do that. Or if it's supposed to be good on like Rift Herald, right? Like Rift Herald's AP scalers are supposed to be something you care about, then we should lean into that, right? The person who asked the question actually phrased it really well using some of my terminology. They're like, is this a red mage item? And I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Cool. Good answer. All right. You can ask me a question now. We're going to try to go back and forth. So if you have a question for me.
Okay. This might be I don't know how hard this one will be for you, but if you could snap your fingers and solve any gameplay problem in TFT, what problem would you try to solve? And you don't have to come up with an answer, obviously, in the spot, but what do you think is a problem?
Okay, so I hesitate to say these because both of these are problems I think we should solve. Both of them are problems I have a solve for. We just have to find the time to do them. I think you know both of the solves I've talked about, but the first one is in-game matchmaking. I think right now we have this perception anytime you see multiple players win streaking, especially in the late game, it ruins the perception of the matchmaking pretty heavily. Something I've always wanted to do is actually show like how many times you faced this person before. I think some of the other auto battlers have actually done a cool job of that. Where like last time you faced this guy, you 1-0'd him, but and I think there's things there that we could do. The second one is actually something we've talked about a couple times, but we never did. And that's, I want item augments to use the item bag. I am tired of I already got 3 belts and then I take big grab bag and I get another belt, right? Like I think we could do better with our item distribution pertaining to the augments that you work on. Because I think the fact that they're disjointed right now leads to some pretty bad situations. Now there's exceptions, right? Like we have the on a roll or magic roll that gives you 4 of the same item. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't need it to take 4 copies of that out of the pool, but I wouldn't mind if it took 1 copy out of the pool so I don't get a 5th belt after that, So I think those would be the 2 things if I could snap my fingers. They'd just be like clean, easy, and everyone's happy. They're like low risk of going wrong.
Yeah, I'm working on augments right now, and he mentioned something about augments. So it's like he can snap his fingers, and we can't. No, it's obviously not as easy as that. The fun thing is, big grab bag actually does use your pool, but it adds the items back in, so then you can. Yeah. So it's like it's not fully Mort solved, but it does kind of like it's supposed to. I think we tried that, and it's like if we're still not happy with it, the next step would be like fully just use the item bag, right, and then figure it out from there. And so, yeah, there's stuff we can test. But yeah, good answer.
Cool.
For sure, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Have another one from players. We'll go with the other gameplay one first before the hard one. The gameplay one is. And so again, this is a player question, but I thought Kent could be a good person to answer this. Is it clear enough when you should opt in for like durability and damage amp versus when you should opt in for armor and AP? As a new player, I don't understand that. How do I know when I should be building one or the other?
Yeah, I kind of sympathize with the players because like we have a lot of stats in the game, and our game is really complicated. There's a lot of systems that you have to think about, and like we try our best to make it kind of clear that like everything is good if you don't need to be optimal to win the game. Like that's kind of the whole point is there's a lot of context to like what you build. Sometimes you slam suboptimal items because you need to win streak or just want to save HP, that kind of thing. But the mathematical answer is like you want to multiply, everything multiplies with each other. So you want different axes of power. And so armor multiplies with durability, multiplies with HP to give you the most effective HP possible. Damage multiplies with crit, multiplies with amp. And so you want ideally to have all three sources, whether it's through items, augments, your spell, or traits. And so for example, if Rift Hell gets a bunch of HP from Bruiser, you don't want to build more HP, you want to build durability, armor, and MR, and that kind of thing to multiply it.
Cool. So if I heard you right, basically whatever you already have, build the other.
Yes, I thought you were going to make a joke.
No.
Yeah. I thought you were going to make a joke. But yeah, exactly. If whatever you already have, it's best to build something else other than it. Exception is kind of like HP regen, health regen. If you have something that regens percentage of your health, if you have a lot of health, this is actually really good. It's another thing that multiplies it essentially. It just doesn't give you, total effective health, but it gives you effective health. So yeah.
Yeah, this is why I've seen like on Rift Herald, for example, you want to have like Steadfast, which gives you some of that DR and the health regen. And then you want to have like a Bramble or something. And then, and then the third item can be like the utility Armor Shred or Ionic Spark or Sunfire is a common one. Yep. So cool. Makes sense. Easy answer, but figured Kent could give you a good answer. All right. I'm going to do the hard question that I brought for both of us. This is a hard one for both of us.
Ooh, okay.
And then you can do it and then I'll do. Okay, cool. So I felt like this question was good for both of us. As a workaholic, what did you do to make family work? Now, the reason I thought this would be good for both of us is you've worked with me long enough. You know my work habits, and and also what I expect of you. And like, I think some people would perceive that maybe if I work crazy hours, I expect you to work crazy hours. So how are you doing? So I'll answer how I do it. But I think your answer is going to be different, and I think that's important for them to hear both. So I'll go first. With me, I've been a kind of a workaholic for a long time, and the way I've made it work with family is that my wife and I pretty early on made an agreement is that I would give 200% to my job and make sure that we were successful and taken care of, bills are paid, I do all that stuff, and she doesn't have to work so that she can give 200% to the kids, and that's kind of the arrangement. So like if I say on a Saturday, hey, I really need to get this thing done, it's important for the set or whatever, she goes, makes sense. I hear you. Like as long as I'm communicating, no problem. But there's one golden rule though, which is never miss an important event. In 20 years, I have never missed a birthday or a Valentine's Day or a holiday or anything like that. And if I did, she'd kill me, right? She'd be like, what the heck? Or like when my daughter was in ballet, I went to all the recitals, right? Like, and in priority, it's like those family things that are like S tier, then work, then free time, right? And so like, okay, my work's caught up, things like I'll take my daughter to the mall or something like that. But I've also talked about it before where you can't always have, like, there's that triangle of work, family, friends. I don't get a lot of friend time, right? Like that's the thing that I've chosen to drop off. It's mostly family and work, and those are the things I prioritize. But like I said, without my wife, I don't know if I could, right? Like my wife does cover a lot of the stuff. I take my kids to school in the morning, and then she picks them up so that I can focus on work the rest of the day. And sometimes she brings me dinner when I'm on my computer, and so, but that's the agreement we made, and that works for us. So that's my answer. Now, Ken, you have a different work schedule and probably a different approach. So what's your thoughts here?
Yeah, we've worked together for a really long time, and it's not. I work a lot not because, just put it out there, I work a lot not because Mort tells me to work a lot. I just feel like if I have time, I can do things to make the game better, and I want to make the game better because if I play the game and I don't think it's good, I will be frustrated. So that's why I work a lot. I think that's just how I function. But that does lead to often working too much. I have like burned out before in the past, and a lot of it comes down to I guess learning and teaching yourself when to take a break, when to stop. Because if you care a lot, you're just like, well, I can keep doing things to make the game better. And it might even be fun, right? Sometimes like implementation work, I just have fun. And it's like, it's late, but I want to keep going because I want to get this in. And when it works, I'm like, this is sick. I can't wait till players see this. But if I do that, then it's like, okay, well, I worked late today. I should take time to be able to like spend time with my dogs, my wife, or I would take some solo time to relax and just like not burn out on, Friday afternoon or something. Like I make time to, I set aside time to like make up for it basically. And so it's figuring out that kind of schedule that works for yourself. Another thing Mort mentioned is the friends, family thing. It's like, yeah, I also just don't spend that much time with friends too. I spend a lot of time on work. I spend a lot of time with my family, and something kind of has to give. I try my best, but yeah, that's you have to make a sacrifice a little bit somewhere.
Makes sense. I don't know what you did, but you waved your arms and the gimbal like moved.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but you did some motion. I even turned them off, so I don't know how you did that. That's cool. But you were don't try to do it again. Come on. But hopefully that was a good answer, and different approaches. But yeah, Kent, you're freshly married, and so yeah, you've got that to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm happy. We've also. My wife also likes to work, and so we're kind of both figuring out how to like balance our schedules with work and family and life and things like that. And so, yeah. Wait, thanks.
All right, you have a question for me.
I do have a question for you. Okay. Of all augments that existed, what's your all-time favorite augment of all time? I just said all time a bunch of times, but yeah, you know what I mean.
All-time favorite augment of all time. Got it. Okay. Okay.
Couldn't have said it better.
Man, that is a hard one because I could give you a bunch of answers. Like right now on live, the augment I basically always take is Warpath. That feels like Mort's augment because everyone thinks it's bad, but I always make it work. I tempo off of it, and I like have probably like a 95% cash out rate with that augment. I love that augment. I think another interesting answer is an augment that I gave you a hard time about even creating. Like when you tried to create this augment, I was like, Kent, there is no way we can't ship this. You're out of your mind. Yes. Yeah. But then we shipped it, and I'll be honest, every time I could pick it, I had fun. And if anything, I want to make it work better. It's Cruel Pact. Cruel Pact, unfortunately, the thing about it is it's like a first or eighth augment. It's like you take it, you go on a 14-round win streak and then lose twice and you're out, which kind of is toxic to the lobby. Yeah. But it's kind of fun, especially as a tempo player. So I've enjoyed Cruel Pact. Birthday Present is another one I really love. I think right now it's a little weak, but even today I remember playing it and like having fun with it. So I still like Birthday Present. I think those would probably be my three answers off the top of my head. If I sat and looked at a list, I'm sure I could go, oh wait, no, I love this one too, and I love this one too. But I think those are the three that have always felt uniquely I'm good at as a player, and so I enjoy them more.
Yeah, Warpath is like, I know you love Warpath. You're really great at tempoing off like whatever you hit. I've taken Warpath and I ended the game at like 17 damage. I'm just like, dude, I'm not clicking this augment. There's no way. But yeah, there's some good ones. I'm surprised you said Cruel Pact though, to be honest. I'm surprised you like Cruel Pact as much as to make at least even your top like 5. It's a risky augment and sus design. So
Well, like I said, I think I want to call it out, not necessarily like maybe it's like barely top 5 or whatever, but I do want to call it out as like I was wrong, right? Like in development, like I said, I gave you a hard time on that one. So real quick, by the way, we talk about me as a tempo player. Can you, from your perspective, tell players how I play in our playtests?
yeah, Mort is off. Well, okay, so he'll always play something different. He's never like one tricks something. That's like a thing. He doesn't play back to back things in playtests, especially because he's like trying to test new things. But then he jams levels. He's always win streaking. This guy's like 108. If the thing he's playing is not horribly weak, he's usually 100 HP by like stage 4. That's just like a standard thing. Yeah.
Or unless it's non-functional.
Yeah. The other thing is he'll pick a thing. He's like, I'm gonna play this thing, and then there's just some horrible bug, and the thing just doesn't work, and he's like 8 HP, and we're like, shit, are you good? You're like, it's fine. It's like, it's not. It doesn't work.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, so even in our playtests, I just over tempo, and it's really funny too because Tim is the reroller. Tim is he 0-5s the first part of the game
very often.
Yeah, because he rerolls, and I'm like level 6 on 3-1, just every time. Yeah. This is also what I was saying about internal metas, right? Where it's like, yeah. So, okay, the last question I have for you is the one I've been asking everybody, because again, this season started off with Creator's Curse. You've been doing this 5 years. I'm sure you have things you look back on and you're like, God, if I had just done this differently or better or whatever. Walk me through like your sort of Creator Curse thing in your TFT development.
So a quick one pops into my mind, and it might not be for the exact reason. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. Legends in set 9.
Okay.
It's something that we wanted to do. We want to take a big swing and like try something brand new for the game. Or around the game. I think I just wish I had more time to put into it. There was so much that needed to be done for the set, and I know you and Mike could carry a lot of weight back then on it and try to get the system, directionally test something that we wanted to try. But I wish I was just able to put more time into it to like, help refine some of the design, some of the details in there to like make it not even just the balance, but just like more choices for players to play, because I think it could have been so good for the set. It ended up being a lot more narrow than we wanted it to be, and yeah, that's kind of the thing I often regret. I still think there's something there we can do, something cool, but yeah, I think that would be my big one.
Legends is an interesting answer because it's so weird because in some ways Legends was a huge success, right? Like players loved Twisted Fate and being able to Pandora's, and especially for new players, that was a really big thing. Being able to sort of like a lot of our less engaged players really loved Legends just because it allowed them to sort of like remove a little bit of the variance and learn the game from an early part. But obviously, as much as we loved 8 players taking Ornn, or who was the Tome of Traits one? Was it Tom? Yeah, I can't remember which character it was, but Tome of Traits, in the finals, yeah. Like yep. We did not love that, and obviously that was not great. So yeah, I totally agree, and I think because of that, people look back and they're like, Yeah. So that makes sense. Cool. That was all the questions I had prepared. I'm trying to think. Like I said, Kent, you used to be on Patch Rundown and stuff like that. Do you miss like being in the spotlight, or is it actually kind of nice to be like? Because I think some people are sort of like, Mort's out there doing all this stuff, or are you happy with like the things you've gotten to do and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy with what I'm working on, and there's the great thing about TFT culture is that like there's like so much variety, so many things going on, and a lot of variety, and the team is just we've always been a very scrappy team. You can kind of just like, if you have a problem and you have a solve for the problem, talk to Mort. He might be like, yeah, this is cool. Can we do it? And then we'll figure it out, is this feasible? We obviously have to talk to downstream teams, things like that. But like, if we can do it, we can just do it. And that kind of feeling is really good. And so I feel like there's always something interesting to work on. But like, as far as being in the spotlight, I do really appreciate, like when I was a player, I really appreciated the things that whenever I got to hear the behind the scenes of a game that I really loved. I watched the Mort and J-Bach rundowns back in the day. I watched, the people from other games playing the game, talking about the games that I love, things like that. And so being able to, and I know there are a lot of people out there who like kind of share the same sentiment. They just want to hear the reasoning behind some of the changes that are being made instead of always like hypothesizing, right? And so I like being able to share that stuff. I think for those of you who watched Paris Open, I loved being able to share some of the thoughts that went behind set 16, that kind of thing. But it's not like I think Mort answers a lot of the questions and is able to like constantly field all these questions. Obviously, you're not streaming anymore, so fewer of those questions come through. But I know he's very interactive on Reddit and things like that, and so I still think that's like super great, and players still get that thing. So there's no like need that I need to do. But yeah, I'm happy to be here though.
No, it's all good. All good. Cool. So I figure we're almost at time. So I figure I'll give you the mic if there's just anything you want to say to players or anything they should know about the team or anything else, or just anything on your mind that you want to say. Like now would be the time, but the mic is all yours.
I feel like that was my piece. That was like
I
kind of wanted to say that. Yeah, that was kind of just like one of the big things where it's like but I don't have much else. But I hope to see you guys again. I actually I just want to comment on Walk the Dog real quick. But I think this is such a cool like podcast thing because not only does it like answer player questions and kind of get that through, you also get the inside the mind of a very experienced game designer. It's just like sometimes you philosophical questions, right? It's like you don't get to get answers to that very often, and just being able to learn from that. I know a lot of people on the team also watch the podcast, and they really appreciate it too. So it's cool.
All right. So according to Kent, you get to see inside the mind of a brilliant game designer. So apparently,
I didn't say brilliant.
So apparently, I need to find a brilliant game designer to bring on the. I was gonna go the humble route. Come on. I gotta find a brilliant game designer to come on here. Maybe I can get Peter tomorrow. Perfect.
Okay, we were making the same joke.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You know me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kent, thank you for coming on. This has been Walk the Dog. Like I said, today is Tuesday. It'll go live Wednesday. I'll have 2 more with guests, and then I fly back home, and then you'll be back to seeing me walk in circles in my office until it gets warm enough to go outside. So that'll be that. Otherwise, on the live side of things, hopefully the meta stays good. If anything starts to emerge, let us know. We're hoping the set's actually pretty stable. Generally, what I've seen is, again, the Yunara, Kaisa, Demacia, Shadow Isles, like all the it's a very 4-cost backline meta right now, which is generally a pretty healthy spot to be. I know we're still planning some stuff, but things should be good. I know there's a cup this weekend as well. It's the whole EMEA versus NA, but like they drafted in a way where like everyone's on one side of the bracket, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. So cool. Thank you so much. That's gonna do it from us. Until next time, take it easy.
See ya.